Hey everyone, welcome back to The Whole Truth. I'm Gil Arbel, your attorney at law. And today I wanted to go through the timeline of what we can expect in the Tyler Robinson case going forward. This is not set in stone. It's subject to change, but just based on my experience and a little bit of research, I came up with the best timeline. Then I wanted to watch this 20-minute video by Ben Shapiro talking about the debate between Candace and Andrew Wilson. I usually like, hi Texas, hi ex Samurai, thank you. Hi Lynn, thank you for joining. So I usually agree with most of what Ben has to say. I think he's going to have a good take on the debate. It sounds just by the title, it sounds like he kind of agrees with me that it was a waste. But this is not to say that I think Andrew shouldn't have done it or anything. I mean, I don't think he should have done it. But it's not to say that Andrew didn't win. Andrew won the debate, and I've said this a bunch of times. Hi, Rana. But that's by an objective standard and against a normal person. But as we all know, Candace is not normal and she does not adhere to normal standards. So that's why the debate was pointless, futile to begin with. But before getting to that, let's talk about the timeline for the trial. So I think that if I've heard correctly, and I might, don't take everything I say to heart. I've been wrong on occasion, but I'm usually right, especially when it comes to legal stuff. So the timeline, as I understand it, is that tomorrow is the deadline for the prosecution to file their reply brief in response to the defense bind-over brief. And I might do a joint live with LLC tomorrow. Mindy's working on it for me, so I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But I don't think we're going to see anything new in tomorrow's brief. They're really just going to attack the points that were brought up in the defense brief. So we're not going to hear any really new. I mean, they're definitely not going to bring up new evidence. They might point to some different things to counter the points made in the defense brief, but really they're just going to be attacking it on legal grounds and, bringing up case precedent and stuff. So if you're expecting some big news tomorrow, I would temper those expectations a little bit. I don't think it's going to be that much info. Lynn's always right. Yeah, some people are. But so then we have the September 1st oral arguments. And, this is kind of unusual, at least in my experience, to have a whole day set aside for oral arguments at a closing of a preliminary hearing. Usually it's like, I'll give you 5 minutes to sum up, your points made during the prelim, both sides, and that's it. But there's going to be a full, I don't know how long it's going to last, but, the judge set aside the whole day for it. So it's quite unusual. But that doesn't mean that we're going to get a decision handed down that day. It's possible, but you're quoting me. Yeah, no, I'm humble. I've been right a lot recently on this case, and I keep patting myself on the back because I'm proud when I'm right. And I have been right a lot recently when it comes to this, but I'm not always right. Just 99% of the time. And so since the judge is really playing it safe, crossing every T, dotting every I, like almost to a fault, I'd say, in this case, I don't think that we're going to get the bind over decision right away. But it's possible. It could be as soon as they rest their closing argument, then he issues the bind over. I think it's not going to happen right away. Maybe 1-2 weeks until that happens. Following that, the defense is going to have a chance to do another motion to quash that bind over decision, because we know that it's going to be bound over. Thank you, Lynn. So it's going to be bound over. I think 6 of the 7 counts, the aggravating circumstance, and the sentencing enhancements, all of it are going to be bound over. Count 6, as I've predicted, it's going to be dropped. That's going to be the one success of the defense. Errol, I'm doing a live right now. You can't just be licking yourself really loudly. And so after the decision, the defense is going to have a chance to file their motion to quash it. They usually have like somewhere around 30 days before they can file that motion. And then, of course, we get the prosecution filing their opposition, and then the defense filing their reply, and then that decision. So it could be another month or two before we actually get that decision to, overrule the defense motion to quash. Keep in mind, discovery is ongoing. There is no like hard cutoff date. You're supposed to continue discovery throughout this process up until trial. Usually you're supposed to have everything ready by trial before, well before, but sometimes evidence, takes a while to gather. Both sides are going to have to disclose any evidence. I'm not sure if all the records, from the cell phone tower sites have been gathered already. We know that they've been subpoenaed. They've probably been received by this point. Hi, Patrina. Thank you for joining. But it's going to be ongoing. The defense is going to keep asking for other discovery. The prosecution might ask for certain discovery. So now, the defendant has a right to a speedy trial, but almost always it's waived because the defense wants as much time as possible. We haven't even gotten into the motions to suppress evidence yet. That hasn't even started coming up. So that we're going to have a lot of these motions. They're going to try and suppress the text messages. They're going to try and suppress, basically everything. It's almost, there's not really a downside. They're going to try and suppress the surveillance. There's going to be who knows what grounds they're going to do it, but it's going to continue on, and each motion is going to be heard, filed oppositions, replies, so on and so forth. That's going to be going on for probably a year, at least. Now again, the defense can waive the defense can invoke their right to a speedy trial. But most likely they're going to continue waiving it. And as for the victims, and I did a little bit of research on this, the victims they have the right to ask for speedy trial also. But really, it's the defense that has the most important rights. And so the judge is going to take it into consideration. He's supposed to not cause any unnecessary delays. But the most important thing is that the defense has to feel that they're ready for their trial. And so the victim's rights do not trump the defendant's right to have a fair trial. So if Robinson does not insist upon a speedy trial, and defense requested continuances accumulate, there is no deadline really. And this is a capital case, so we could be looking up to 2 years before trial. It really depends. It's 1 to 2 years, I think, is a reasonable expectation, but there is no hard and fast deadline. subpoenas and third-party records. You know, all the cell phone companies, the iCloud. Um, I think what else was subpoenaed? You know, the different surveillance footage from not just from UVU, but from the Quick Quack car wash, so forth. These can also turn into their own mini litigations. Those parties can object to those subpoenas, and then back and forth, back and forth. So it can take a while before that, before we gather everything. OJ's trial started 6 months after he was arrested. Yeah, well, it's up to the defense, really. If the defense wants a speedy trial, then they'll get it. But that was probably a strategic consideration. They didn't. They thought that a speedier trial would be favorable to the defense, and I mean, they turned out to be right. It seems like so. It doesn't. It's really up to the defense. Now they can't just keep asking for continuances without good cause. It has to be relevant, but the judge is going to usually err on the side of caution to preserve the defendant's right to a fair trial. So if they say that there's any bit of discovery outstanding, any witness that's going to be unavailable, anything like that, the judge is going to grant a continuance to the defense. Lynn asks, Gil, I think you answered this, but do you think the attorneys are telling his parents not to say a word? I mean, if he was innocent, wouldn't they be screaming, I know we know this, but I don't get. Yeah, this was a stupid point brought up by Candace, saying that they're under a gag order. They cannot be compelled not to speak on their son's behalf. If they think he's innocent and they want to say it to the public, they're allowed to say it. And if there is a gag order, they would be fighting that gag order in court. They would appeal it. And this is especially strong because their statements or statements being attributed to them were used by the prosecution to get the original arrest warrant. Remember, Mike Mitchell said that Tyler's parents told him that Tyler admitted to them. So their statements or statements attributed to them are being used by the prosecution. To imagine a situation where the judge is saying, no, the prosecution's allowed to use your statements, but you're not allowed to deny those statements or say that those statements were fabricated to the public, and we're going to bind your son over to a death penalty trial. That's ridiculous. No, and as I mentioned in another video, if they wanted to, they could still speak to the public or the media, and the worst case scenario, they'll be held in contempt and they would fight it and win. There's no, the court system is meant to be fair. Now, there's a lot of times that it's not fair, in particular because of procedural technicalities and stuff like that. But the purpose is fairness. And I think we can all agree that it's just on its face super unfair and ridiculous to imagine that if your son was being framed and you thought that, and statements that were being attributed to you saying that your son admitted to guilt are being used by the prosecution, that you're not allowed to stand up and say, no, that's not what happened, and my son is innocent being framed. I mean, can you imagine such an unfair situation? We don't live in North Korea, okay? We don't have rules like that. Hi, Van Cruz. So we have a lot of procedural fights, a lot of evidentiary hearings, a lot of discovery motions, subpoenas, other things coming up, and it's going to be probably a year to 2 years. And I'm talking about from the bind over decision. Now, after the bind over decision, I think first the defense gets a motion to quash opportunity where they pretty much just re-argue stuff. Those are very hard to win. I can't imagine that working at all, but it's another delay. And then the actual arraignment happens where, hi Nikki, where okay, so actually, one second. I had to do research because I don't know exactly the Utah procedure. So, okay, if Robinson is bound over, then the arraignment happens. That's where he pleads, presumably not guilty. Then we have a long runway. I'm trying to find the quash, when the motion quashes. Is that after the arraignment? Yeah, that's probably after the arraignment. So I got that backwards. So first, it's going to be the oral arguments. Okay, so tomorrow we have the reply brief due by the prosecution. Don't expect anything earth-shattering from that. Same thing with the September 1st oral arguments. They're really not supposed to argue anything new. They're supposed to just summarize what was already argued at the preliminary hearing. Then we're probably going to have 1-2 weeks before the actual bind-over decision. After the bind-over decision, probably another 1 to 2 weeks, maybe 30 days actually up to, before the arraignment. The arraignment, he answers a plea. We have the motion to quash, which is basically just a second bite at the apple for the same thing. Back and forth, that's probably going to be 30 days, 30 to 60 days. And then we're going to have all the motion hearings and evidentiary suppression motions and discovery, subpoenas, all that stuff for a year. And then after that, finally, we'll get to the trial. High eclipse truth. So that's the general timeline. And that was just the topic that I wanted to introduce with, to offer something relevant, so I'm not just playing other people's content, but now let's play other people's content. And of course, I'm going to have to pause here and there so I don't get copyright stricken.
We have been told over and over and over again that debate is the way to get to truth, and sometimes
you know what? I'm sure you guys are getting echoes, so hold on. Hi, Chrissy Lee. I don't know if I've met you before, but welcome to my channel. Please subscribe, share. Love you all. We're a good group here. Everyone is super friendly. I love my fans. Now that I have my headphones on, can somebody give me a 4 if you can hear Ben Shapiro?
that's true. And sometimes watching a debate is like watching two idiots clock each other with pool noodles. On Friday morning, conspiratorial nutcase Candace Owens debated provocateur debate me bro Andrew Wilson over...
You guys hear him okay? I can hear him fine. Number 4 if you can hear him.
who killed Charlie Kirk. And everyone who watched is now significantly stupider. I'm going to go through some of the details in a second and what it means for debate culture more generally. This is The Ben Shapiro Show.
Velvet Patrina, hi.
Debate is sometimes useful, and sometimes it's just not useful. It's just not. Now, there are two possible reasons for a debate to be useful. First, when you might convince the person you're debating, and second, when you might convince the audience. If neither one of those things is true, you're probably wasting your time. Well, I think it's fair to say a lot of people wasted their time last Friday, which is when there was a debate between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson over who killed Charlie Kirk. Now, moment of rare agreement is never going to happen again between me and true America-hating piece of crap Hassan Piker. Not the attitude Hassan Piker is about to project, but what he says here about what Candace Owens has done to Charlie Kirk's memory and to his family. That part's true. He's celebrating it because, of course, he's a piece of crap. But here's what Hassan Piker had to say about Candace Owens.
I can't speak out against this queen because this is a queen that successfully and single-handedly undermined the Republican initiative to martyrize Charlie Kirk and use that example to crack down on political dissent.
Can I just say, I hate this motherfucker a lot? Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that, you guys? I hate this motherfucker. He's such a ugly inside, ugly outside piece of shit. Okay. Hi, Dirt Bike. I just I needed to say that.
She dropped a grenade on the discourse. So I'm with her. It's hard. It's hard for me. My brain says, no, it's probably Tyler Robinson. But my heart says, go, Candace, go. Keep cooking. You know? Does that make sense? I can't like her tweets because she blocked me many, many years ago. This is before.
Oh. That's interesting. But yeah, he's right. I mean, we hate him, but he's right. Candace Owens completely changed the narrative on Charlie Kirk assassination. This should be about leftist violence coming up against free speech advocate like Charlie. And it should be a memory of everything that Charlie stood for and what TPUSA has done, the good. But instead, it's kind of a shit show now. And it's about Israel and the Jews. And we can pretty much thank Candace Owens single-handedly. I know that there's others, but I think it's pretty much all Candace. By the way, if you don't know, everyone, every week, I come up with a new creature. This one's my favorite. But Save Smiles gave me advice to make her into a sewer rat. It's not as good. Next week, I think I'm going to make her into a maggot. And then maybe one day, I'm going to put this as merch on like hats and stuff. I don't know. Let's keep watching.
Before she became our hero. Okay. Many, many years ago, Candace Owens blocked me. I've not been a fan of Candace Owens. I am a fan now.
Well, yeah, of course he is, because it turns out that Candace Owens has basically turned what would have been a referendum on radical trans rhetoric and what it means for America into a complete mess, a moral hazard, just a disaster area. So, of course, Hassan Piker is super happy. So, this debate was a 3+ hour debate, which basically was like walking through the halls of a psychotic ward.
Eclipse Truth, I'll make her into a spider for you, but spiders don't really bother me. Cockroaches do. Cockroaches and sewer rats bother me, so that's how I view Candace. But if spiders bother you, I will make a Candace spider. Just for you, Eclipse Truth, just for you.
That's really what it was. And so we'll go through some of it and try to pull out what is substantive from it. But lots of people watched it, which is the reason we're commenting on it. Because again, people are now treating matters of truth as matters of entertainment. And this is the bigger message here, is that when a public begins to treat matters of baseline truth as matters of pure entertainment, of pure...
Texas, definitely. I DM'd them to me. And if you have any good spiders, I guess Brown Recluse is the one. I was gonna go Black Widow, but that one, has too much other connotations to it. So I guess I'll go Brown Recluse. But are those really the ugliest spiders? Because we have to go ugly, right? Um, and I don't know what a Brown Recluse looks like. I know they're the most poisonous, but I was gonna go Tarantula. We'll have maybe we'll have like a poll. I wanted to do a maggot. Somebody gave me that suggestion. That's a good one. Mosquitoes are the deadliest animals in human history, right? They've caused the most death out of anybody, but they're not really that hideous. So I'll probably do it. If I'm doing a new one each week, I'll have to do that. Yeah, they're more insidious. And then a lot of people are saying snakes, but snakes don't really bother me either. I don't find them repulsive. So that's the key word. It's got to be repulsive. It can't just be dangerous. Because, like a pit bull can be dangerous, but they're not repulsive,
Just distraction. What you end up with is the worst form of political debate and the worst form of human behavior. Truly, it's bad, bad stuff. This thing has 1.5 million views on Patrick Bet-David's channel. PBD moderated this, by which we really mean that if you watch the thing, he basically sat in the center and looked as though he wanted to be anywhere else except in the middle of this mess. 4.3 million views on Candace's channel and another 500,000 or so on Wilson. So 6.5 million views on YouTube alone in the first couple of days here. And naturally, everyone who watched it came out with precisely the opinion they had before. Candace's followers are saying that she demolished Wilson.
This is why I like Ben, is that he says exactly what I say. And I like people that say what I say. No, I called it from the start. This is not going to move the needle. It didn't even matter, to be honest, if Andrew Wilson completely crushed Candace, which he did not. But even if he did, it wouldn't have changed anybody. I mean, the worst case scenario, or the best case scenario for us that we could have wound up with is people saying, oh, she had a bad day. That would have been the result. So, and again, I would not even mind this. It will just be kind of a stupid entertainment, if not for the fact that Candace Owens made a shit ton of money from it. Not just the 300,000. I mean, this is obscene. I'm working my ass off, and I can't make $300,000. And I'm a lawyer. I should be much wealthier, but nobody deserves $300,000 for what we saw. This is disgusting. And she doesn't even offer to give that to Charlie Kirk's family. What a disgusting cockroach. And the reason I say cockroach, I think cockroach and sewer rats are especially poignant for Candace because they scurry away from the light. And she is like that. Oh, we got Sedona here. Sedona is going to help my channel grow by pointing out, sharing my stuff with Candy. Sedona, we have a Candy Roach. Of course, Sedona would say that Tucker would beat Shapiro. Yeah, that's for anybody that thinks that Tucker has anything of value to say. But Tucker scares me. Tucker is not a normal person. He might be like I didn't used to believe in lizard people, but Tucker starting to change my belief. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Chrissy. Yeah, help me grow my channel.
And PBD's commenters pointed out how he really couldn't moderate because
my channel's getting viral soon. Yeah, but I want it specifically on the Candy Roach.
It was just a mess. And Andrew Wilson's fans are saying that he wrecked her. And both sides are now running clips claiming that their respective side won. None of this is useful. None of this. And what's more, there's a moral problem here. When you debate for money over the matter of whether a person who clearly murdered somebody, and whether the person who is claiming that the true murderer might in fact be his wife, might in fact be his best friends, might in fact be people who surround him, what you are doing is granting the imprimatur of decency to a debate that is indecent at its heart. Because here is the thing. In order for a proper debate to take place, two preconditions generally have to be met. First, the proposition being debated cannot be inherently retarded. Debating whether the moon is made of cheese is a waste of time. Even if the person who's making the argument sounds very convincing, it's a waste of time because the moon is not made of cheese. And if the person walks away with more people believing the moon is made of cheese, more people have been made retarded. Debating who killed Charlie Kirk with a person who says, not that there's reasonable doubt, but that it was probably the French Foreign Legion in league with the Israelis, probably in league with Erica Kirk and TPUSA, maybe in league with me, maybe in league with Josh Hammer, maybe in league with Bill Ackman. Who the hell knows? Okay, that is inherently retarded because there is literally no evidence pointing to anyone except Tyler Robinson. And you know who says that? His own lawyers, whose job it is to keep him out of jail. And as we'll see in this debate, Candace had no evidence to provide for any contention that she made throughout the debate at all. Second, and far more importantly, when we're talking about preconditions to successful debate, participants in the debate must have some baseline respect for the truth and the facts. You can't have a proper debate with somebody who doesn't give a crap about the facts. If you are debating, for example, welfare reform, and one of the participants says, welfare does not exist because the earth does not exist, there is no possible way to debate the proposition with that person. If every time you cite a statistic, the person says, numbers aren't real, there's no way to actually debate that. If you pretend the facts don't exist, or that the facts don't matter, or that you can just hand wave them away, there's no way to actually win that debate or even have a debate with that kind of person. A person who refuses to even make clear his or her own positions, like runs away when asked about it and hides behind some sort of semantic game. That's not a debate, it's just stupidity. And so we should make the point here that no one in America gives less.
So this is kind of Ben saying what I said in his usual more eloquent way. But my point is that you can't debate people that are operating in bad faith. You cannot. Because while you hold yourself to a high standard of providing evidence and facts and argument and reason, they don't. And so they're coming in with a huge advantage over you. And they might actually get some points because you might actually get a fact wrong and you'll have to acknowledge that and adjust. But they don't even care about the facts or the truth. So it doesn't matter. And that's why I said the debate was futile from the get-go. And again, I wouldn't care about the debate if it wasn't for the money that was given to Candace. I don't care about PBD and Andrew Wilson getting money. I mean, I still think that's a little bit obscene in a way, but I don't care. Because, whatever. But the idea of Candace Owens making any more money off CK's death, Charlie's death, is just disgusting. And that was my biggest problem. But by all objective standards, Andrew won the debate. If there was, professional debate scorers watching, they would obviously give it to Andrew, but it just makes no difference.
Less of a crap about facts than Candace Owens. That person does not exist. Alrighty, coming up, we'll get into the incomplete list of Candace Owens conspiracies. Again, we are all becoming stupider, including your 12-year-old if they get an iPhone. Okay? They might survive getting an iPhone. Maybe not. I don't know. Somehow humanity made it thousands of years without giving every 7th grader unlimited access to an iPhone. But eventually your kids grow up. At some point, your kids will become adults. And that raises the next important parenting question. How long do you plan to keep paying for your kid's phone? Back to
Here's a question for you all. As a dad, I don't have to worry about this for a while, but I want to know, when is the right age to get your kids a cell phone? You want them to have it in case of an emergency, obviously, so you could put certain protections and limitations on it, but when is the right age for a kid to get a cell phone this day and age? Everyone, put your advice in the chat.
school season might be the perfect time to finally kick the college kids off the family bill. Right now, a secret cabal of the Nazis did. The U.S. dropped the bomb on Nagasaki to 10. The list, the list is much longer. Israel was involved in 9/11. It's a really, really, really incomplete list of the theory. No contract required. Simply go to puretalk.com/Shapiro to claim this offer. Again, that's puretalk.com/Shapiro.
Hi, Sandy. We have a new person. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, share. High school cell phones. So your high school is what? 14? Yeah, that sounds about right. But it's still with limitations. Yeah, I mean, X Samurai has a good point. It really depends how much. If it's just for making outgoing and incoming calls, then yeah, I mean, I guess you get it younger. But kids are gonna use it for what kids use it.
Here is a really, really, really incomplete list of the theories that Candace Owens has spouted without any facts to support them, as an account called A.G. Hamilton has pointed out on X. Here's just a massively incomplete list. Like, the list is much.
Isn't A.G. Hamilton the Attorney General or something? I thought that was A.G.
longer. Israel was involved in 9/11. The Earth might be flat. It is absurd to believe dinosaurs roamed the Earth and were killed by an asteroid. Emmanuel Macron's wife is secretly a man. The Holocaust is either fake or severely exaggerated. The crimes of the Allies in World War II and post-World War II were worse than anything the Nazis did. The U.S. dropped the bomb on Nagasaki to target Christians. A secret cabal of Hollywood Jews was behind the death of Michael Jackson and people around him. Ataturk was a secret Jew. Stalin was a secret Jew. A secret cabal of Jews has been kidnapping, raping, and killing Christian children on Passover. That's just traditional medieval blood libels, actually. And the list goes on and on and on and on. So again, Candace is completely divorced from the truth, nor does she even care about the truth. And in fact, when asked for evidence for any of her propositions...
So I happen to be Jewish, and I can say with certainty that it's not Christian children that we drink the blood of. It's Christian adults on Passover. No, I'm kidding. Passover is like this really boring holiday that we talk about our exodus from Egypt. Anyone that's in SoCal, next Passover, you guys can join me and my family for a Passover Seder, and you'll see it's there's no blood, Christian or otherwise.
She ran like hell from that obvious question. So at one point, Andrew Wilson asked Candace Owens for positive evidence for any of the suppositions that she was making. And she looks frankly bored with the question.
So you think you with full confidence, you think that
I think Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel.
Yeah, I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day. Mm-hmm. Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over.
Isn't like French Foreign that's not even like the intelligence agency of France? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't like French Foreign Legion like from the colonial era of like the French going to North Africa and stuff to help colonize it? I mean, would they be the ones that France would send to do an assassination? Stupid.
Can't do that. I'm not.
Van Cruz, yes, I have X. Yes. And thank you, Sandy, for subscribing, and you'll get to know the whole crew here. We're all great people.
But you don't have any positive evidence of that.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence. I've just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are.
It's annoying to ask for evidence. Yeah, I know she gets annoyed, but for $300,000, can you suffer by offering some evidence for your claims? I mean, for $300,000.
That's a claim.
No, I said, here's what I think.
I have every right to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's positive evidence for your claim.
In this statement, I literally just said, I think, and I am allowed to think. And
yeah, you're
keep
allowed
saying,
to think,
you have
but you're making a claim.
I have tons of positive evidence that I'm allowed to think.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So,
nobody's disputing whether or not.
I hate her face. I'm allowed to think. I have tons of positive evidence. Shut the hell up, you retard. Answer the question. You got paid $300,000. Answer the question. You disgusting witch, vile person. Everyone, say hi to Arrow. He's a good boy. He's just kind of crazy. Okay. Am I annoying everyone by interrupting Ben Shapiro and stuff? Oh, Nick Mattel is debating. Who's he debating against? I mean, there's nothing to Andrew Wilson like. She didn't present any evidence. There's nothing. The best that you can say is that she came out of it like not realizing how retarded she looked, and that is an accomplishment. That is an accomplishment. But yeah, I'm curious who he's debating. Is it somebody that's like actually has something substantive to say? Is it going to be just another retard? Because debating retards is kind of it's bad for, it's impossible to win, and it's a little bit hard to watch. By the way, Sabes, I don't know if I showed you, I followed your advice with the sewer rat, but I'm going to make a better version of it. That was Sabes' idea. Who's he debating, Sabes? Some listener named Jason. So, okay. Hey, ex Samurai, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I don't think you are, but I hope you're right. They're always tripping out because they're stupid. So I don't know. Jujubee, by the way, I think Mindy Ann is trying to help you organize some collaboration for me, and I appreciate it. She asked who's a mod, so I said Jujubee is. So, okay, I'm gonna shut up and let this keep going.
But like you're allowed to think. What I'm asking is
but you have what's your issue then? What is your issue with the statement? Evidence. I think that Israel is involved.
That's not what.
Are you smarter for having heard this? Was it a great debate had by all? Was the truth approached at its closest point? Patrick Bet David looks like he wants to dig a hole and crawl into it. Candace Owens, my goodness, I love that Candace Owens has now been reduced in that clip to Michelle Foucaultian deconstructionism. It's really impressive. She's like, I think that I am positive that Israel and the French did it. And Andrew Wilson's like, do you have evidence for that proposition? She's like, I do have much evidence for the proposition that I think that thing. This would be the place where you should say, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, is there any evidence for the proposition that Israel and France did the thing? Not, is there evidence for the idea that you think that thing? Like, this is nonsensical. What are we doing here? What in the actual hell? I mean, I can say right now, I think with 100% certainty, that Candace Owens is whoring herself on the side of the road. Now, if somebody says to me, do you have any evidence for that proposition? And my response is, well, I mean, I have lots of evidence that I think it. I have tons of evidence that I think it. She would properly sue me because, again, I have no evidence for that proposition that she is whoring herself on the side of the road. I assume, in fact, she is not whoring herself on the side of the road because there is no evidence. But this is like, that's an amazing statement. So she can, just to get this straight, in a Mott and Bailey argument, that is where you make a bad argument and then you kind of hide back in a more secure argument. So her bad argument is that Israel and France are behind the Kirk assassination. That is her Mott. And when it's attacked, she moves back to the Bailey. And the Bailey is, I said, I think a thing. How dare you question me thinking a thing? This is semantic game playing. You are dumber if you believe this. And apparently there are a lot of people on the internet who are really, really, really dumb. I mean, truly dumb. This would not pass the smell test in like a high school debate class, a junior high debate class. This would not pass the smell.
That's true. That's why, like I keep saying, Andrew Wilson won the debate. Period. End of story. It just didn't do anything. It doesn't mean anything. But he did win the debate. And winning a debate against Candace on any topic, but especially this topic, it's not that hard. I think Andrew could have done better, but he could have done worse. I just don't think it should have happened. But Ex Samurai is saying that candy cultists are really tripping out on online. Um, I hope that's not just wish casting because we always say that, but they don't seem to go away, and they seem to be just as confident. So I don't think that it means anything. But I hope I hope you're right, X. Look, I like being proven wrong when what I think is, detrimental to our position. So I'm that's when I love being proven wrong. Like, I don't think that Candace has lost, maybe she's lost a little bit of her following, but I don't think she's really lost any of it. And that would be something that I would love to be proven wrong.
Test in any debate in third grade. But again, Candace was asked about justifying her fact.
Oh, by the way, whoever I made mods, and I make everyone mods that asks, but don't get rid of Sedona because Sedona is she's helping me go viral by passing it along to the candy cult. So don't delete her or anything.
Here. And here is the support that she has for her factual assertions.
So I think what's happened is I've actually built up a rapport with my audience that it's not vibes and dreams. And that's why they keep watching my content, because like, for example, when I just the other day released the content of the shooter on the roof doing the lateral crawl, then they're going, I don't think these are just vibes. It seems like Candace's sources are legit. So
Lateral crawl, according to her, it's just when somebody's on one knee and moving sideways. Yeah, no way Tyler Robinson could have done that. You have to have like an elite French Foreign Legionnaire to be able to do that. Or my baby.
proven myself in the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would legitimize your sources as being legitimate when it comes to the idea that, they all believe that there's a conspiracy going on, which is actually what your claim is now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Andrew Wilson is correct about this. I love that her defense of her factual claims is my audience vibes with me. Well, there are lots of audience that vibe with leaders. It happens all the time. For example, cult leader Jim Jones, his audience was totally vibing with him. Totally vibing with him. I mean, they believed him. It was growing the movement. It was really solid. They vibed with him so strongly, they were willing to believe the idea that if they drank the Kool-Aid, then they would bring about the eschaton.
Eclipse, yeah, you can, but again, she's trying to help me go viral, so let's I want Candace to see this and share it.
And then they drank the Kool-Aid and they all died because he had poisoned it. So I'm pretty sure that people believing you is not good evidence the thing you're saying is true. In fact, I'm pretty well assured that these two things are completely different propositions. People believe all sorts of people who lie to them. It happens all the time. But again, this is Candace's shtick. You walk down the supplement aisle at the grocery store, half the ingredient labels appear nutrients in their real whole. Just use promo code Shapiro. Plus, Erica Kirk this debate is not just stupid, it's immoral. Because granting credibility to Candace Owens to spew this kind of crap about Erica Kirk is it's disgusting. I'm sorry, it is. Clowns can.
Yeah, Ben's right. And big credit to Michael Knowles for not accepting the debate moderation. I think that shows some integrity. What doesn't show integrity for him, though, is he should be calling Candace out a lot harder. I know he's taking this whole view like, let's not feed her. She just wants attention. No. You, Michael Knowles, have a big platform. Call out Candace Owens. I don't care if you're her kid's godfather. Doesn't mean that what she's doing is not sick and evil and wrong. Call her out. Okay? Otherwise, I think of you as a coward. But I will respect you for having the integrity for declining this debate. I think that was the right move. And I've lost some respect for PBD.
Clowns, that's their prerogative. But granting moral credibility to this sort of trash is really disgusting.
And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us. I'm like, wait, so just so I'm clear, you haven't seen anything that the public hasn't seen? And he says no. So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erica saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public and people bit, by the way?
Because Tyler Robinson sent text messages that he killed Charlie Kirk. That's strong evidence.
I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, let's wait. She's going to have access.
By the way, anyone, if someone else is going live, let me know. I don't like to take away viewers from anybody else, any of my other friends or shows.
To things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have. Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's involved. They made an arrest.
I don't understand, how would any of this make her complicit and in what?
Well, I've already told you. She's complicit in trying to fool the public into thinking this is some open and shut
How
case.
is she trying to fool
She's not trying to fool the public. She's just saying her opinion, you dumb cockroach.
the public into this? If she believes
Like,
it,
don't look
if she
anywhere
believes
else.
that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk, if she believes that, how would that be complicit in anything?
I do.
Are you
believe,
saying that you think she doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No.
Right. So she's claiming, again, Candace demands that everybody give her the benefit of the doubt that she believes what she believes. But she's claiming that Erica Kirk overtly lies, that Erica has serious doubts as to whether Tyler Robinson killed Charlie. And she's just doing this, for the shits and giggles of it? It's really insane. It's truly, truly insane stuff. Crazy. Okay, well, the thing about Andrew Wilson that's kind of funny is that Andrew Wilson, of course, is not politically like-minded with me in a wide variety of ways, for example. But at least he has the brains to understand what Candace is doing is wrong and stupid. So here he was pointing out so Candace basically said that the only people who are okay with Erica having become CEO of TPUSA are either feminists or Zionists. And Andrew Wilson's like, well, I'm neither of those things, and I don't think it was suspicious per se.
For you, though, to say that anybody's a girl boss, right? That's like the pot calling the kettle black.
That came out of your mouth.
No, that was you. You brought up girl boss.
Girl boss came out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm telling you that you brought up this idea that I'm defending some feminist nonsense. I'm not. I'm pointing out that they're by the way,
she's not qualified to take over his company.
There's always objective outliers to each situation. In fact, it's the exception that proves the rule. And the interesting thing here is
She says she's not qualified to take over the company because Candace thinks that she is qualified. And we've heard her say this before. Why don't you make me? She's jealous because all she has, I mean, she has a lot. So I'm not trying to say she doesn't have a lot, but compared to what Erica Kirk has, which is a real movement filled with good people that are making positive impacts in the world, Candace has tons of money, mostly from her marriage, and a cult following of retards. Now, she's so petty and full of hatred, and
it's like I'm still just as critical of feminism inside of TPUSA as I've always been, and I'm just as critical of any pro-Zionist position as I've ever been. None of that's ever changed.
It's all just nonsense. It's nonsense wrapped in stupidity, wrapped in idiocy, wrapped in semantic jargon. It's so silly. It's all so silly. It's also silly. So the clip, all of this looks very bad for Candace, right? There's only one clip that looks good for Candace. That one clip is where Candace asks Andrew Wilson to list off the charges, and Candace has memorized the charges, and it gets awkward.
Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You
ahead.
name.
This was such a stupid gotcha, but Andrew fell for it. He should have known the 7, but who gives a shit? She memorized the 7. I didn't think it was that hard. Maybe it's because I'm a lawyer. The 7 charges don't seem that obscure to me. They're easy, but so what? But Andrew should have not made it into a big deal. He let it become kind of a gotcha. It was an own goal, sort of.
One.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
No, it's not incorrect. He was charged with murder. Aggravated murder is murder. You retard. You think that you got a gotcha because you didn't add the word aggravated? No. Aggravated murder is murder. Just like car theft is theft.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And I
Can you name all 7?
I can't.
Then do it.
There's nothing worse than a stupid person using their stupidity and thinking that they're right against somebody else who just doesn't know. You know what I mean?
I have to
do it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't have to put your fingers up.
Okay, hang on. Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries a death sentence in the state of Utah. No.
Okay.
Yeah, Saves. I'm not a big fan of Andrew either, but we're going to side with him here.
And then she proceeds to name all 7. Okay, first rule of debate, by the way, don't ask questions you don't know the answers to. But again, the fact that she has memorized the charges doesn't demonstrate that anything she says about the charges is true, obviously. But this is the stupidity. It's all performative. It's all performative. At no point is truth approached. Truth is a far, far distant object in this debate. No one cares about it. It doesn't matter. People who agreed with Andrew Wilson agreed with him before. People who disagreed with Andrew Wilson disagree with him after. People who love Candace will agree with anything she says. The reason this is important is, again, because there is this thing that has gone around in sort of debate me culture online, which is when you get 2 people in a room, the conversation is always useful. And here's my proposition. Nope. My proposition is very often the answer is nope. And you probably wasted 3+ hours watching that thing if you feel that you came away better informed in any way, shape, or form. By the way, if you are curious about the calcium markets on various arrest chances, apparently 8.5% of people think that Candace Owens is going to be arrested this year. I disagree, by the way. She's not going to be arrested because, as said earlier, there's no evidence for the idea that she's whoring herself on street corners. So I don't think that's going to happen. What an amazing video you just watched. Wasn't that amazing?
Oh. Okay. Yeah, good take. Let's see. Is anyone else live right now? No. So let's keep going. I'm going to turn on my AC for a few minutes. Yeah, I'm curious. I heard that there's like some stuff coming out about what happened behind the scenes with Andrew Wilson's fact-checking team not being allowed or able to bring stuff up, the earpieces and stuff like that. But personally, I don't think she was fed that information. I think that's like one of the few bits of information that she memorized. Let me tell you what the 7 charges are. Aggravated murder, which is murder plus an aggravating circumstance. Felony discharge of a firearm. 2 counts of obstruction of justice. 2 counts of witness tampering. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then commission of a crime in the presence of a 14-year-old. Okay. Well, what does that offer? What does that change? Shouldn't have mattered. It was Andrew Wilson's fault, though, for making it seem like it mattered. He should have said, I don't care. But he made it seem like it mattered, so it was kind of an own goal, but again, who gives a shit? She got so many things wrong just on the legal side. She said everything was hearsay that was brought up in the prelim. That's not true. There was some hearsay, but not everything by any stretch. She said murder, aggravated murder is not murder. That's wrong. She said that Tyler Robinson's parents can't come out and say the truth because they're under a gag order. That's just not true. I mean, she just said so much stupid shit. You guys, let's see what's going on X. See if my computer spurgs out, because X takes a lot of memory.
We have these self-proclaimed investigators that rely heavily, if not exclusively, on anonymous sources and unverifiable information, and then they want to go around and they want to be completely anonymous. Folks, that's not how this works. It's just not. And then that way they can claim whatever they want to claim. There's a reason why these anonymous investigators are anonymous. They don't want to know, they don't want you to know who they are. Like, what in the world are we even talking about here? Like, if you don't have enough integrity, or if you're hiding something, or you can't take responsibility for the information that you're putting out, that tells me everything that I need to know about who you are and what's going on with that.
All right, so if you enjoyed that content, well, number one, make sure you
negotiate into their contracts that they get all the IP, they get all the editorial control, and the partnership, though it may be a more of a financial partnership, it's less of a controlling partnership. Here is Nick, by the way, just as an example, just last week exercising that editorial control in a fantastic way.
People like Tucker Carlson, they're saying, no, there is something to do about it. We're going to merge right-wing social policy with left-wing economic policy. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to be the ones that control the government. And we're going to use the government to make the economy work for our people. And then anybody who disagrees with us, well, clearly they've been bought off by somebody, by the establishment, by Israel, whoever it is. They've been bought off. They can't be trusted. And so what am I watching? I'm watching the left engage in an action of identity politics, grievance politics, oppressor and oppressed dynamics. And now I'm watching a section of the right engage in the exact same thing.
So basically what I'm trying to say is I think the new media landscape allows for both what Candace Owens is doing and what Nick Freitas does. And I think the ceiling for Nick Freitas is much higher, but I think Candace over time may be a lot more consistent because
I like Nick Freitas. We all love Gary. Gary's the man.
she has that cultish audience. I think we're going to continue into this wild west of influencer podcasting and creative output. I think where battles are going to be won is going to be in, street fights and shootouts and things like that, rather than with an editorial board like the mainstream media did in the past. Is it better than mainstream media? I'm not sure yet. A lot of people thought alternative media was going to be better or new media was going to be better. I'm not sure it is. We'll see. I think it's yet to be seen. What's different is that both the good guys and the bad guys have unlimited freedom to push their agenda in a way that just wasn't possible before. That's why I show you that stark distinction between what Nick Freitas is doing, which is just fantastic, and what people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are doing. Both can happen. They can both be very lucrative, and we'll see. I think we're just so new into this, which one will ultimately move the needle in American politics more. Really quick, guys, before you go, I love to share fantastic articles with you. Trump put big oil on notice over its massive profits. His call out is raising more questions about industry accountability, transparency, and Americans' health. I thought this was a really fascinating article. It made me think a lot. There are certain things that I agree with Trump on. There are certainly some that I disagree with him. This one, I'm not perfectly sure which one I stand with. Trump understands both the environmental impacts and the economic impacts of big oil, and he kind of rides that line in a really interesting way, and this article proves that well. Go check it out right now. I put a link, again, it's at the top of the description below.
Okay. Let's see what else we got. Is Paramount Tactical going live, Mackenzie? If he is, then I will sacrifice my live. Oh, PT. Oh, physical. Good luck, Mackenzie. We're all there with you. I thought you meant Paramount Tactical. Let's see what else is going on with X. Let me actually, while I'm here, share this to X. If we get a little bit more people to join us. LLC, sharing some of my stuff. Okay. So Candace Owens filed dismissal on the Harpole case. I'm gonna maybe discuss that. Lynn, you can ask me, but I have no idea about it. But if you have a specific question, would I go? Yeah, I would go. Why not? I mean, I'm not in Michigan. If you want to pay for my airfare and my hotel stay, I'll go. But yeah, I love it. I love seeing Jews and Christians uniting. Okay, let's see. So yeah, I think tomorrow maybe I'm going to be discussing this with LLC, the dismissal. I haven't read it. I think it's awesome that Mitch Snow is saying that he never got his $150,000 from Candace for the fundraiser, and now he's being sued for it. So he came up with this BS story. Goes on Candace to spew it, gets sued along with Candace for it, doesn't even get paid the money that Candace made from the lie, and can't even afford his own attorney, apparently, because he's representing himself in pro per. By the way, Mitch, if you're going to file a cross complaint against Candace, I will represent you pro bono. I will represent anybody that is going on a lawsuit against Candace pro bono. All I ask is that, any out-of-pocket expenses I don't incur, but I would love to help. I'm so against this lady. I will do whatever I can. But I think it's in Arizona, so I don't know if I have the right to represent anyone. Yeah, obscure moderator. She lost the debate. Everyone knows she lost the debate. By normal standards, she's not normal. And I'm probably gonna have to end this in like a few minutes. But does anyone know if Andrew Wilson dropped that text message that he brought up? If he showed it yet? At the beginning of the debate, he said he got a text message from. Well, he didn't get a text message. He was shown a text message from Charlie, I think, to a security team, saying that he was worried that a leftist was going to try and kill him the day before the assassination. And I thought that was a that was a mic drop. That kind of set up the debate for something that I was hoping was going to be much more of a crushing win. But let's see what this is. I can't hear. So I can't hear it, so I'm not gonna. Everyone, let's watch Paramount Tactical tonight. Going Friday. Friday. He's gonna drop it Friday. Okay, cool. I mean, I think we heard what it was, so I don't know if it's gonna be more to it than that, but cool. Yeah, I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. It looks like tonight Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Paramount Tactical is going to have a good show. Seems like it's going to be a good good topic. So I will try to catch that. The Babylon BB. Okay. Lady Luck Club. You weren't run. Okay. Andrew Wilson tweeted, "You are not running a legitimate investigation." I think an LLC reposted this. I think this is in response to Stu Peters. "You aren't running a legitimate investigation. You said for certain Erica Kirk was at Fort Huachuca. You said for certain that Charlie was killed with an exploding mic. You have made claims with certainty as declarations of fact. And I have all the clips. You didn't do any proper legwork before making incredible accusations. None of you have. You didn't try to falsify your position. Instead, you just ran with it. You aren't investigators of any kind. You don't get to endlessly accuse with no evidence people who haven't done anything wrong and pretend it's investigating. It isn't. It's malicious slander, and I might add, fucking evil. Where is the justice for people you have accused for months of meeting in secret to plot the demise of their husband and friend? You participated in a sick and twisted campaign to destroy the lives of strangers just so you could feel important. Amen. Amen, Andrew. That transcends being a retard. It is in vile territory. What next? You gonna help raise money for a woman that killed her 3 kids? Can't wait to see you jump on that bandwagon." I want to do an episode about this case with the mother accused of killing her 3 kids. My wife's been following it. She says it's interesting. I should do a show about it. I'm kind of too busy to talking Candace all the time. That's what I like to do, but I should branch out a little bit. I was also thinking about doing a show about one of my past cases. Where I successfully got my client acquitted of assault with a deadly weapon because I showed that it was in defense of his father. That was a big case for me, and I would like to do a show about that. But I got to put it together. Am I missing any? Hi, Nine Toe. Am I missing any questions or anything? Okay. Viva Fry. I invited Candace on for a discussion multiple times. She has not accepted. Guess why? In fact, I invited Ian Carroll. He has not accepted. I invited Baron Coleman. He has not accepted. I invited whoever that is, and Lionel Media, they have not accepted. Guess why? The people just asking questions don't like just answering questions. Yeah. What type of person makes their X handle biggest dickus? That seems to be like overcompensation. Joshua Carr tweeted, I walked out of first hour of church today and immediately 3 people came up to me. Quote, Candace Owens looked like a total idiot in that debate. How can anyone be dumb enough to believe her? End quote. This is Utah, folks. These are the jury. Well, that's reassuring at least. I should be going on Joshua Carr's show Wednesday. I'm excited. Don't know exactly the topic, but hopefully it'll be the Tyler Robinson case, because I feel like I'm starting to get to know that very well. To anyone whining about the Lance Twiggs surveillance ID, he also told him in person the following day. Yeah. Rekieta Law, I'm not going to read this all. Yep. This is what I said. X Samurai. This is what I thought. And I'm not trying to rub it in your face or anything, because believe me, again, I want you to be right about this, but I think it might be a little wishful thinking. Candace Owens' YouTube subscriber count since the debate, 0 lost, 20,000 gained. She lost nothing. She got $300,000, not to mention probably a few million overall from the debate. 20,000 more subscribers. Mackenzie. Okay, now Nick Fuentes has been posting a lot of good content recently. And as much as he's a bad person, he's been saying a lot of good stuff. So I don't know how to think about it. But my sound is not working on this stuff. Let's see if I take this off. Oops. It was working. But now it's not. So we're going to skip over the videos and just read the tweets. I'm going to have to stop in like 5 minutes, actually. Just looked at the time. Yeah, she could be buying bots. Yeah. But she didn't lose any. Nikki, I'm going to have what? I think it's what it was. She buys bots. Okay. But she didn't lose any, which is what we really want. And she got the money. By the way, if we have any Florida people here in the chat, make sure you vote tomorrow. I don't think that the real dangerous people have any chance of winning, but always remember to vote. Yeah, I don't know why none of my videos are showing. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna call it quits. Thank you so much for joining me. I gotta go. Love you all. Mwah. Stay sane.